So the pratfall effect has been behind many of the world's best campaigns. But I think one of the most interesting examples isn't Avis, we try hard, or Guinness, good things come to those who wait. It's a campaign much closer to home. And that's the success of the budget airlines. Now, Rory Sutherland has talked really eloquently about this. And he said that they only became successful because they admitted a weakness. That if they hadn't admitted a weakness, people would have assumed that there was a flaw with the product, and they may well have assumed that the cheapness was a trade-off for a poor safety. What the budget airlines did so brilliantly was tell people their flaw was in bad service, and therefore people could understand how the cheap prices came about, and therefore they were happy to fly with them. There has been an over-focus in marketing on a handful of biases, things like social proof or framing or priming. And part of that is because we've always talked about behavioural economics, and actually behavioural economics there's only a small overlap with psychology. There's a 150-year history of a huge range of biases. And one of the most interesting, I don't think we talk enough about, is confirmation bias and how to overcome it. So confirmation bias is the idea that once the human mind's made up, it's very hard to change it. We interpret all new information through our feelings of the person that's telling us the information. Now, what Leon Festinger found was that the brain's ability coming up with these counter-arguments and therefore generating confirmation bias was minimised if it was distracted. So there's a real opportunity for brands who have a proportion of rejectors. They can overturn some of their misconceptions if they talk to them when they're distracted. And that's as simple as maybe using a medium like radio where people are always doing something at the same time. One of the most interesting things about the pratfall effect is that it is quite rarely used. Now, if you think not just of a list of some of the best campaigns that used it, but the proportion of campaigns that use the pratfall effect is actually quite small. And I think the strength therefore comes in that it's really distinctive. Now, where it can be best used is probably in categories where the competition are a little bit brag too much. And I think one of my favourite examples was from a 1970s estate agent called Roy Brooks, who talked really openly and honestly about his houses. You know, he'd slag them off to a great extent, and he'd gained great publicity from that. You know, he was a celebrity. He was featured in the Sunday Times, interviewed on chat shows. So estate agents is probably the extreme category where people over-exaggerate the benefit of their products. But there's lots of others. I think perfumes, cars. You know, the norm of behaviour is one of pretending to be perfect. So they're good categories for the pratfall effect. So I've got a really exciting project on the moment. I have been offered a contract to write a book about behavioural economics and social psychology. So that's coming out in October, so that's taking a huge amount of time. It's going to be called Decision Day. And the basic premise is following a single person through a day, and then every time they make a decision, talk about the bias that's affected them, why they made that decision, an experiment or two that I've done with either on my own or with colleagues, and then finally, most importantly, the application to advertising.